Hello, today in this tutorial I'm going to be explaining how to create a view simulation using the Tyflow plugin for 3ds Max. And essentially what I want to achieve with this particle simulation is to demonstrate what particles will hit certain surfaces and what will go through in between them. And I want to represent how a person might feel sitting in either a car, a train, or even just a bedroom, and what their view and perspective might be from objects in front of them and then beyond. To begin this simulation, I've drawn up a quick site with 3 little blocks and a road, and I've got my car, which will have the views coming from. So to start off, we need to draw a Tyflow. So I'm just going to add that in, and you just want to hit Open Editor. I'm just going to size this down a bit. And so if you right click into the blank space of Tyflow, there is a preset flows. Click on the simple icon flow, and it comes up with a already preset event with all these operators in it. So we have to first start by locating the icon, which is here. And you can see it's already started to birth particles. I have got my keyframes set to about 600 for this, just because you want the reach to go all the way through. So what I'm going to do is just drag this across, and I'm going to position it where my car is. So I've got my Tyflow icon here. I'm just going to rotate it because I want the direction of the particles to hit the boxes I've drawn. So I'm just going to go right click on rotate. And I'm going to rotate in the Y direction by 90 degrees and then in the Z direction by 180. Awesome. So now it is facing the blocks. So what I can do is I need to create a collision so that these all account for a object in the event. So I'm going to hit tab and just type in collision. And I just want to pick these objects. So I'm just going to select all of them and just go add selected. And now you can see that the particles will start to bounce off the blocks, which means it's working. However, I want it to more sit on the block and not bounce off it. So you can go into the collision tab and you can adjust these parameters. So I'm going to set bounce at 0 and see how that impacts it, which is perfect. It just sits against that surface, which is what I'm after. I might change the particle display from geometry just to maybe small dots, which is fine. And what I now want to do is also create some splines to draw lines to make this a bit more visible as a analysis or simulation. So I just want to go tab again and just go splines and just hit spline paths. And you just want to pick the object and you're picking the type. And you just want to go to create new. So now that, as you can see, the splines have been drawn, but I want to create a bit more divergence to the particles, as you won't necessarily be looking out directly straight. You might be looking out in front of you or up or down. So what I want to do is change the divergence. I might make it, let's start off with 15. And that seems pretty good, actually. You can see how it creates a kind of cone-like structure with all the splines going out. Let's just see what happens if I set it to 25. Oh, that could potentially be even better. So I'm going to stick with that for now. And now that I have this in view, I just want to set it across this spline path I have made, as well as the car. So what I'm going to do is reposition my tie icon to sit within the car. So I've set it up so it's in the back seat window, the simulation. And now I just want to add a path to both of these objects. So I can show two ways of creating a path or animation for both of these. I will show by the car one option and then the tire icon by the second option. So to set this car along this drawn line, I just want to go to animation and then go to constraints and path constraint. And I'm just going to select that spline which I've drawn there. And as you can see, it's kind of going through the road, which is not quite what I want. So I just need to adjust the parameters here. I want to go to relative. So it's on top of the path and it's currently following the correct direction of the road. So that is working just fine. Now it's just a matter of setting the tire icon on that same trajectory as well. So with the tire icon, I can show a different way of animating, and you can set this up by moving it in within the keyframes. So you just want to go to set keyframe, and then what you want to do is as you go through the animation pane, you just want to add the set keys, and you can see how a little key is drawn in the animation pane. So let's say I want to start dragging it across. I'm going to do this quite roughly just for the purpose of this exercise. And then I'm just going to drag it across with the car. And then I'm going to go set key again. And then I'm going to repeat this process. Cool. So now that I have set my keyframes, I can just unselect that. So once we've set everything on that animation path, as you can see, if I start to drag the animation pane, the particles start drawing the splines through the Tyflow, and you can see how they go in between the buildings but also collide with the buildings. And this is a great way of visualizing and simulating a view which you might get through a car, or even potentially could set it on a train, or even set it on a stationary kind of object such as a room, which you might see in an apartment building, and what you might see out from that apartment building. And this is just a great way to visualize that for a presentation format, to analyze what you might perceive from a window. So that is all for this tutorial, and thank you for watching.